Welcome to the Lowdown Mortgage Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the topics that directly impact the evolving originator. I'm your host, Connor Bartley. Bam! And joining me today is someone who's built a high-performing mortgage business by being intentional with his time, disciplined with his prospecting, and deeply focused on the client experience. He's grown through educational events, refined his approach to high-impact one-on-one agent meetings, and built a really tight support team that allows him to stay focused on what he does best. Also, he's passionate about turning pre-approvals into meaningful moments, and I love this, bringing more joy into a process that's often treated as transactional. Cameron Budzius, welcome to the Lowdown.
Yeah, Connor, look, thanks for having me. Super stoked to be on here. Grateful for you reaching out and having us on here in the first place. So excited to see what we get into.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited too. I know you're going to bring a ton of value to this audience, and just looking forward to this conversation. I just want to let's just dive right in. I know over the last few years, when we talked kind of in preparation for this, you shared that your business has evolved and you were doing like hosting these larger educational events, and then now kind of doing some more intimate one-on-one meetings and things like that. What prompted that shift, and what have you really learned from that?
Yeah, so really, and we continue to do both, right? That's never going to change. We're always going to do events. We're always going to do these one-on-one relationship building exercises as well, if that's what you want to call it. But what we looked at is, first of all, we need to get in front of as many people as we can, right? That's where events come in. That is, so I call that our one-to-manys. It's one person getting in front of many people. And then we shifted that from, okay, instead of just doing all these events and see what lands from that, let's go deep with the people that we do connect with at those events. So we do those one-to-manys, and then we transition that into, okay, here's the 5 people out of 30 or however many it is that we actually really connected with, and we're going to get one-on-ones with them. That's where, okay, we can deepen that relationship, really get to know them, and then referrals, everything really builds from there. So we're still doing the one-to-manys, and that just funnels down into, okay, now we're going to get a one-to-one with this particular person, right? Does that make sense?
Totally. Is there anything that you how do you identify those people? Is it just who comes up to you after the event? Do you have a kind of a structure to your follow-up on anyone who attended? Like, how are you identifying who are the 5 people that you really want to focus on?
Yeah, so there's a strategic approach to it, and then there's a shoot from the hip approach. Depends on the event. Like if it's a real estate agent event, I know I can see who's registered, or I know who's going to attend more than likely, and we're going to do our homework, right? I want to see, okay, are they 2 deals a year or are they 20? And I know going into that event, I really need to try to get in front of so-and-so. To try to be impactful or an intent on how we approach those events. The shoot from the hip events, it's, okay, well, who did we like? Who did we jive with? There are certain people that for no particular reason, all right, maybe we're not a cool fit together, but there are others that we completely jived. We have the same hobbies outside of work, or we like certain things the same inside of work. We're going to go after them. We're not going to go after the people that we don't jive with right off the bat. So it's either we take one approach or the other, right? We're either going to be super intent getting in front of the right people, getting that meeting, and then scheduling that one-on-one, or, hey, I really liked you. Let's figure out what you do business-wise and let's work the relationship.
Yeah. The thing that I love about the one-to-many approach is the leverage that it creates, like the opportunity for leverage, right? Like I love the call out that you just made there. So you see who's signed up, and now you can research who's going to be there and kind of have like your target, right? and really be intentional and purposeful in when you're in the event and in the environment, and come in educated on who that person is, right? Like know not only the volume that they're doing, but the zip code that they represent or that they do most of their business in, the kind of products that they deal a lot of business in, what they're like on social media, right? To your point about kind of the shooting from the hip and who do you get along with. I mean, just in talking with top producers across the country, I find that the majority of the people that are producing at a high level are doing business with people they would want to do life with too. Like there's just a compatibility about it, and it's not just like who will throw me a loan. These are the people I really enjoy working with. So I think those are really both great
Percent.
approaches to it. One thing that really struck me when we were talking offline was that you are very disciplined with your calendar, and you kind of stick to these theme days and have a lot of structure into your week. Walk us through like what a winning week looks like for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, that really comes from we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It's how do we get the most impact from that? So, when we look at what our normal week looks like, even down to our normal day, I've got to be very intent on what happens in that day, on that particular day of the week, to make sure I hit everything I need to hit for the week to make sure we hit our goals for the year, right? So when we're looking at our calendar, you mentioned the theme days, and this isn't new news for a lot of people, but each individual day of the week has a theme that's our target for the day of who I need to talk to. So we always start the week Mondays. That is our, different, if you look at the different coaching groups, they call it different things, but Mondays is real estate agents. We've got our list of agents that we work with. Maybe it's our top 40. Maybe it's agents we're chasing after, trying to get some business from. But every Monday, our theme is real estate agents. We're calling them, we're giving them some value, and in return, we're asking for some business, right? Tuesday, that is our Tuesday update calls, where anybody in our pipeline, so a borrower, the buyer's agent, the listing agent, the title companies, all of them are on that list every Tuesday for us to go through, and we're going to give them an update on where they're at in that loan process. And that's a very quick, easy phone call to make of, hey, here's what's going on now. Here's what's going to happen next. And by the way, I know I mentioned that, you know, we want to do such a great job for you that I want to be able to do this for other people in the market as well. Is there anybody you know that's currently renting too that might be able to use our help? It's a great time to ask for that business on those Tuesday calls. So Tuesday, we're doing our pipeline update calls. Wednesday, that's where we go in and we call all of our pre-approved buyers. We've done the work, we've gotten the lead, we've got the application, we now have them pre-approved. Well, now I need to keep them sticky to me, right? I don't want them to get pre-approved and then a month from now find a house and, oh, they saw an ad from somewhere else. They're going to go get a pre-approval from them now and move forward there. We want to keep them sticky to us. So Wednesdays, that's when we're going through calling everybody that's pre-approved on our list and just touching base, whether it's a market update or we know they're looking at a house over the weekend. How did that house hunting go? Did they fall in love with the house? Do we need to get insurance quotes or what? Thursdays, that's our day to touch base with past clients. We've got to stay in touch with them. That can be a great referral source for us, is past clients referring us more business. Whether it's them refinancing or upgrading their house, or it might be their son, their daughter, or their cousin, somebody else that's going to be looking to buy a house. Staying in touch with them. And it's every week, it might be 20 past clients that we're calling. It's not the whole database every Thursday, right? But staying in touch, being intent on staying in touch with past clients there. So Thursdays, we have some time blocked out for that. And then Fridays, that's the really fun part. That's where we call it whale hunting, where we're going after some of the top agents in the market and some of our VIPs, where whether it's financial advisors or insurance agents who are also sending us business, we need to stay in touch with them, keep a good relationship. So whether those Friday calls are staying in touch with our VIPs and reaching out, we want to try to get some big appointments with some whales in our market of agents who do a ton of business we don't currently work with. We're just trying to get an appointment set with them.
Love
So
that,
that's
man. And I mean, what a week, right? You pack it in with so much value and different like variety, and you're touching every part of the business throughout that and still giving yourself some opportunity for huge win potential. That's an awesome structure. When you follow a structure like that, most likely you have your numbers dialed in. You kind of know what you're trying to hit as far as number of contacts you need to make, how many leads lead to a closing, how many credit pulls, all those things. Like, how did knowing your math kind of change the way that you showed up every week?
Yeah. So, even from the very beginning, like you have to know your numbers. But what I mean by that is, okay, what is your conversion ratios of how many leads does it take to get a pre-approval, to get a closing from that pre-approval? You want to know those conversions. Then you also want to know where your business is coming from. How much of it is coming from real estate agents? How much of it is coming from past clients or VIPs? And then another one that we track is how many current client referrals. We call them CCRs. How many current clients are referring us business? They're under contract on their house and they're sending us other people. It's one spot where I certainly need to get better there, get better at the ask. But if you don't know those numbers, you're shooting from the hip, right? So if I know that, hey, 90% of my business comes from real estate agents, that's super heavy on the real estate side. I need to find other avenues to better spread, diversify where that business is coming from. If I didn't track that, I wouldn't necessarily know that, hey, I need to go out and get better relationships with VIPs, or I need to ask better for business from past clients. Same with conversions. If we don't know how many leads we're bringing in every month, how many of those are actually converting to applications? Well, we could be getting 100 leads. We think we're doing great, but heck, I've got 5 closings for the month, right? So if we know that those lead counts super high, but our applications and our closings aren't, well, the leads that we're getting are crap, or we're not doing a good job of following up with them, right? So knowing those numbers helps us dial in what our focus is in our business.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I know kind of the structure of your team. You have a loan partner one, a loan partner two. And then when we talked a little bit, I asked, and I ask everyone this, if you're going to hire someone else, like what would that person do for you, And you mentioned just kind of taking the pressure off of the loan partners and having someone kind of take off some things off of their plate. I mean, how do you decide when it's time to add leverage instead of just like working harder?
Yeah. So there comes a point where it is, I can't say you can't work harder. I feel like you always can, but there's a certain point where that doesn't reap the benefits of it, right? Where you've got to start leveraging this, just like you said. So what we look at, like one of our next hires is going to be purely an admin in the office. And what I mean by that, we have an LP1 who they go through, they review applications, they get documents, but a lot of the work still falls on me, from anything getting a lead to getting that lead pre-approved. And then once they're under contract, our LP2 really handles that moving forward, contract to close. But having an admin step in where it's a lot of work just to keep your CRM up to date. We've got some gifting programs. I know we talked about, Connor, briefly, things that we're doing just to help build relationships and keep real estate agents, past clients, everybody sticky to us. We want that returning business. So having an admin come in, they're keeping our CRM up to date. They're helping me create or update our call list for those particular theme days. They're handling our gifting program. They're handling our thank you cards. We write 20 thank you cards a week. Cameron doesn't need to be sitting here and writing out the addresses and putting a little stamp on the note for every thank you card coming out. An admin can handle that. So those types of tasks that we don't want to look at it as busy work, it needs to get done. But those day-to-day tasks, those can be handled by somebody else in the office to keep me in those green activities of staying out, staying on the phone, staying in front of people, and bringing in more business for us to then handle.
Yeah, I mean, the math on that it's obvious, right? I mean, you're producing at a high level. Let's just take one part of what you said there. Handwritten cards. All right, well, you funded, I don't know, 12, 15, 20 loans in a month. Now you're going to write out everyone a handwritten card. I mean, all that adds up. I mean, for me, it'd probably be 10 or 15 minutes per, just because I want to be thoughtful about what I'm going to write. And my handwriting sucks, and I'll probably have to rewrite it a few times. So now, I mean, we're talking about hours of your time to on a handwritten card. So if you can find someone else that can do that, it frees you up to do other things. And so I mean, it all makes a ton of sense. Now I want to get a little more tactical on something in that, and just talk about the job, right? Like, because I know when we spoke, one thing that you really made a point to say that you enjoyed was, the pre-approval, like the consultation, right? The consultation conversation, talking with that client up front. And you always want to do it face to face or Zoom, and just be able to have that interactivity. Why is that moment so important to you?
Yeah. So we just talked about conversion, right? So this really leads in from that. When we're looking at conversion of leads to actually getting applications and getting people pre-approved, one of the things we saw is that the conversion to getting an application was lower than we wanted it to be. So we shifted to, hey, we want these leads to either come into the office or hop on a Zoom. Like, we want that FaceTime with them to immediately start building a relationship. Right now, once they're there in person or on Zoom, you kind of get to know each other. It's not just, hey, push button, get mortgage. It's, hey, Cameron's a real person. He's right here in our market. And we're going through, and you're able to share your screen if you're on Zoom, or if they're in the office, we have a big TV up on the wall. They're going to see their application. They get to see exactly what we see when we're pre-approving them for a loan. We show them, they get to see their debt to income ratios. We go over their credit reports together. All of that they get to see and understand as to how that impacts their pre-approval. Now, when we're going through that, we always try to lay out at least 3 options for them as far as lending, more loan options go. So say it's a first-time buyer, we know what option's probably going to work best, right? But I want to give them those 3 options of, hey, it's a conventional loan at 3% down, maybe conventional at 5, and then an FHA at 3.5%. Lay out those 3 options. We're going to go over your monthly payments, your cash to close, and let them see those numbers and decide which one's going to work best for them. As soon as they see that and they choose, they're way more bought in than if we just sent them a pre-approval letter with a loan financing breakdown and said, here you go, congratulations, you're pre-approved. Like, they picked it, they're completely bought in. They know us now. We've seen everything. We've gone over everything together. It starts that relationship off on such a better foot.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. And then you also talked about kind of the aha moment. I mean, we're talking about first time home buyers here a little bit, and just that moment of when they realize we can do this, right? And I think that's got to be magical. But like, what does that moment mean for you, and what does it create in that relationship? I would love to. I've never been a part of that, so I'm just curious. Like, from your perspective, what's that like?
Yeah. So you get both sides of the spectrum. These people that they know they're going to approve for a house, right? Their income's great. Their credit's great. They know they're buying under their limit. And they're good. They know that. Then you have the other side where, nobody in my family owns a house. We're going to be first generation of homeowners. We're super nervous. Once you go through that loan application, you go through those options with them and they realize, oh my God, this is totally doable. It brings, like, you see it in their face that it just changes of, holy crap, we're going to go house hunting this weekend. Like, they're so excited about that. And for us, like, look, we see applications every single day, right? It's the same thing. We can churn applications, churn pre-approvals, but we took that step back of, hey, these are real people. We're making a real impact on their life. We stopped counting how many loans we closed, and we started looking at how many families have we served this year. And kind of that tweak has shifted a mindset of, like, we're having an impact on our community by helping these people get pre-approved, find the right financing, and go out and buy a house.
Yeah. What does home ownership like represent to you?
It's a wealth generation, right? Like, you generate wealth from owning a property. One of the first things, you can look at the 4 pillars of, like, financial freedom, if that's what you want to call it. Owning real estate is a huge part of that. That home appreciation year after year, you're paying down your mortgage balance, the return on your investment of a 5% down payment on a house is so much higher than putting that 5% into the stock market, making 10, 11% in the S&P, right? You're getting crazy good returns on your investment by owning that house, and you're building wealth over the years that you wouldn't have without owning a home.
Yeah.
And we look at that. We go through that on their pre-approval of the four pillars of your owning real estate. Step number one, we're going to accomplish that in the next 30 to 60 days. Now we're going to work on an emergency account, maxing out your 401k, and then let's focus on putting money in the stock market. Like it all goes hand in hand.
Yeah. Love that, man. So you're not just giving them a loan, right? It sounds like there's a lot of education and consultation that's taking place. One of the things that you said that I absolutely loved when we were just sort of getting to know one another is that you wanted to be focused on bringing joy into the process and really being intentional about little touches here and there and things like that. Like, what does that mean for you in practical terms? Are there things that you're focused on, or I'm just curious, like, I would love to know what joy into the process is for you and your team.
Yeah. So I said this earlier. We don't want to be click button, get mortgage. We started saying that during COVID, right after COVID, of, we were just churning loans left and right. We wanted to get away from that and get more into that relationship with the customer. And when we talk about bringing joy to the process, it's not just, hey, here's your pre-approval, you're all set. It's, oh my God, you're pre-approved. You're buying a house for $350,000. Look, you're approved up to a $500,000 house. Now let's not go buy a $500,000 house. You're good with your numbers here at 350. That's where we want to stay. That's your comfort level. But look, y'all are solid. Y'all are in great shape. Bringing joy there. Bringing joy. When we brought this up to the team, one of the things they brought up is when an appraisal comes in, it's, oh, great, property appraised, it's as is, there's no repairs needed. Why don't we make that more fun? Why don't we pick something out in that appraisal of, oh, this house has so many windows, there's so much natural light, like we love this house. A simple email from our processor saying, hey, your appraisal's in. By the way, I love all the windows in this house. That natural light is going to be huge. Or appraisal comes in 5,000 over value, over what they're purchasing it for. But a lot of people were just going to say, hey, property appraised right over value. Congratulations. Why not make that a bigger deal? Oh my God, you have instant equity. Like this appraised for more than you're buying it for. Do you realize what that means? And bringing joy in all those little places, it's going to add up over time, right? We want to get away from that transactional mindset and have fun with our clients.
Yeah. And I love the way you have sort of, your mindset is also shifted in terms of like success, and what success is to you isn't just individual success anymore. It's also supporting the team and seeing them grow and things like that. How has that shifted the way that you view your role?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this, and then we talked about this briefly too. This is more of a recent change for me. I've been in the industry, I'm going on 7 years now. It feels like forever, but I guess it's not. But, you get to a place where I don't want to say you're comfortable. You're never comfortable in this industry. Maybe you are financially, but you never know what's going to happen next month, right? But we get to a point where, okay, I know we're bringing in loans every month. We're closing loans. We're doing a great job for our people. Cameron's in a good spot. And maybe it was when we had our first child that this mindset started to shift of, it's not just taking care of Cameron anymore. It's, I need to take care of everybody around me. And it just dawned on me that maybe that's when we had our first child of, there's more to, this is weird to say, there's more to life than just helping yourself. And you get to this point where I want to see my team happy. I want to see them succeed so that, it's going to make a better relationship for all of us, a better office, but that's going to exude on our referral partners, on our clients. And I feel the best way to do that is let's help take care of them. I want to get them in a great spot. And then we're all just riding this train together of like happy coming to work every day. We love what we do. We're having fun while we do it. And that's just going to rub off on everybody.
Totally, man. Take care of the team first. When the team is happy, they take care of their people and the clients and everyone else. And it just, it's a trickle down effect. So I love that, man. Well, as we wrap up, just, is there any anything we haven't talked about or a question I haven't asked that you'd like to just share some insight or advice on for anyone who might be listening to this?
When I think at the bigger picture of, there was plenty of years, probably the first 4 years in the business of, I'm going to come in, I'm going to work every day, I'm going to talk to everybody I can talk to. And then when you take a step back and look at it, is, yeah, I was doing a ton of outgoing activities. I was talking to a ton of people, but my results were kind of here. And we realized that to take the results to the next level, you've got to be intent on what you're doing, not just making not just making 100 phone calls a week. It's, hey, let's make 100 phone calls to the right people every week. Going in, doing the research on who we need to talk to in the market, who we're not working with, being relational with the people we do work with, but really striving to have that intent of the focus on who we want to work with, make sure they're great agents in the market, and then focusing on that, not just keeping the wheel spinning 24/7.
Love that, man. Well, I'm excited for what you're going to do in 2026. Clearly, you've got some great things in the process and in the works, and it'll be really fun to watch the team grow and watch your growth. And so, I just want to thank you for being on the lowdown and wish you nothing but the best, man.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.